most special things for us about EPCOT itself, because a lot of times we focus on the feat of Imagineering that EPCOT is, but what people don't know as much about is the human story behind that. EPCOT, along with Tokyo Disneyland, was one of the major projects when the first generation of Imagineers, those were the people that Walt handpicked from the studio to really start this art form, worked side by side with the second generation of Imagineers, younger people who had started to come into the company. So in many ways, EPCOT along with Tokyo Disneyland was kind of a handoff project, really. It was a true collaboration where that art was being passed down, kind of like in the great oral tradition. And I'm third generation Imagineering, so I was hired by and I work with the second generation who learned directly from the masters. So I've been lucky enough, I got 10 years in with Marty Sklar, which was the thrill of a lifetime. Existencio, who you heard about earlier, was a mentor of mine. But I've also learned a great deal from people like Tony Baxter and Tom Fitzgerald, who were in that second generation. So EPCOT is one of those projects where you can really see that in action, that knowledge, that experience being handed down from one generation to the next. And now as the third generation, we're getting that knowledge, that wisdom from the people who really work side by side with the masters on projects like EPCOT.
People working together. I mentioned earlier another group that the amount of interest on the part of the laborers, the electricians, the technicians, the carpenters, all these people with all of these great disciplines took great pride in it. And I mentioned earlier, we would have a time where it would help us because it would help get the project faster, but it also would help the operators test out. You never know until you get the public in. What did I forget this time, or what works and what doesn't. But we would have these openings for the crafts to come in. Okay, next Saturday, guys, you bring your whole family, and we're going to be in this pavilion or over here and doing that. And we did that. They brought it, and they were dressed up, or they had jeans on. They were clean, and they got dressed. They were very proud to bring their families in, and you could walk through the crowd and hear them say, I built that mural over there, and I did all the lighting down here. You see all that lighting? So they took great pride in it. That was a very, very important thing, and I think we make a good point not to forget that.
I'd have probably been in more trouble. I'd have been in more trouble. There's no question about it. But no, it is interesting to see how that is out on the net now, and I'm sitting in Walt Disney World every day and looking to California, and I go on the internet and look at it too. And I've got friends that have worked on the building of cars and Cars Land. To get to see it is kind of unique. Now I want to go there now that it's open. And Fantasyland, I kind of know a little bit about it. I don't want to know too much because I want to be a tourist. I'm waiting for the whole thing to get done, and then I can't wait to go over and look at it. And it's just another evolution of the park.
Is there a project that
Well, I know there was talk for a long time about a Russian pavilion, and I really wish that had come in. And I know there were a lot of drawings, a lot of detailed work that went into it, trying to hope that they could connect with the Russian government or a business to do sponsorship, and it didn't happen. And I think that would have been a great addition with all the countries that are there right now, but it didn't happen. And I wasn't part of why, so I don't know.
I would say the same thing about an Arab pavilion. We tried to get through Kuwait, who I dealt with, a group of Arab nations to come together. It was a flying carpet was the attraction, obviously. We'd fly on this carpet and try to get them all together. We could never get agreement with enough to do that. Walt came up with ideas and we had no idea. I was with Walt one day with John Hench and Admiral Fowler, the fellow that built Disneyland. And what was there? I don't even remember why it was there. It was in a terrace. It was a terrace, Tahitian terrace, where it's a tropical restaurant, and it's by the end of the jungle ride. And he had built a smaller tree, and he didn't like that. He wanted to hire, and so they cut it and they raised it. And they had a stage. And over here is a waterfall. And Walt says to the Admiral that, Joe, what I want you to do, because they had Tahitian dancers, Joe, what I want you to do, I want you to part the water. Think about that. And Joe, in his finest naval tradition, said, can do, Walt, can do. He wanted the waterfall to part, the entertainers come out on the stage, and then the waterfall closed. And I talked to Joe later, privately. I said, Joe, I know when you told that Walt, you had no idea in the world how to do that. He said, no, but I wasn't going to tell Walt that. And he did it. By golly, they parted the water, the entertainers came out, and the waterfall closed back up. It's things like that that are so much fun. I don't know how to do that, but let's figure it out. It's been fun to do that.